Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to pop the hood and look inside the incredible machinery of the human body. Just imagine, right at this very second, inside of you, there is a vast, incredibly complex network of highways, spanning thousands of miles. And traveling constantly through this network, well, that's the ultimate vital fuel of your life, your blood. Our bodies are essentially these high-performance engines, and to keep the whole shebang running smoothly, that fuel needs to move with exactly the right amount of force.
But here is the big question we really need to ask ourselves today. What actually happens inside your arteries when this invisible engine of yours starts running way too fast? Or, on the flip side, what if it just kind of stalls out? Because when that flow gets disrupted, the entire system feels it. So today, we're going to decode those two extremes and show you exactly how to grab the wheel and regain control.
So, let's ground ourselves in the basic biology first. Blood pressure is, quite simply, the force with which your blood pushes against the walls of your arteries. If you think about those arteries as the vital hoses of your internal highway, well, the engine pumps, the fuel flows, and the pressure against those walls needs to stay perfectly balanced. If it pushes too hard, those pipes are under some serious stress. But if it pushes too weakly, the fuel just doesn't reach its destination.
All right, Section 1. High pressure, also known as the silent killer. So hypertension, or high blood pressure, is literally like dangerously overinflating a balloon. Your heart is forced to work double time, and over the years, those artery walls sustain some serious damage. Now, the truly terrifying thing about high blood pressure is that it's usually completely painless. You could have it for years, decades even, and not even realize it. But if your pressure experiences a sudden extreme spike, your body is going to give you some very specific visceral clues. Suddenly, you might get a severe headache, usually right at the back of your neck, or you might get this loud ringing in your ears, blurry vision, severe dizziness, or even flashes of light. If your body's engine revs this high, it is practically screaming for a break.
And why exactly does it rev so high? Well, a huge part of it comes down to a single number, 80%. Look, sodium is public enemy number one for high blood pressure. But we aren't just talking about the salt shakers sitting on your dining table. A staggering 80% of the salt you consume is actually hidden right out of plain sight. It's packed away inside processed foods, things like canned goods, deli meats, and those instant soups. It's sneaking right into your highway system and forcing your engine into absolute overdrive.
But, hey, don't worry, because fixing this is entirely within your control. You absolutely don't need a medical degree to make these everyday lifestyle changes. First off, tackle that hidden sodium by cooking with spices, maybe some garlic powder or a squeeze of lemon juice instead of salt. Second, just get moving. You don't have to go out and run a marathon, right? Just a brisk 30-minute walk every day naturally relaxes your arteries, making them much more elastic and capable of handling that blood flow. And finally, embrace potassium. Potassium is an absolute game changer because it actively helps your body eliminate that excess sodium, so definitely load up your plate with bananas, avocados, spinach, and tomatoes.
Now, what's really interesting is just how much power you have over your pressure in, like, 12 seconds flat. See, stress instantly spikes your blood pressure by tightening up those blood vessels, but conscious respiration, that can lower it just as fast. We call this the breathing trick, and let's actually do it together right now. Okay, step 1, inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Step 2, hold that breath for 4 seconds. And step 3, exhale smoothly for 4 seconds. Doing this sends an immediate direct signal to your nervous system to just stand down, relaxing those arteries right on the spot.
Okay, let's shift gears now and look at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Low pressure, or as I like to call it, the power outage.
So, while high pressure is that dangerously overinflated balloon, low pressure, or hypotension, is when the blood flows with such timidity that it actually struggles to reach your brain. It's sluggish. It's just tired. And while it isn't typically fatal the way high blood pressure can be, it is an exhausting, everyday nuisance. When your pressure drops, you might feel extreme dizziness or weakness when you stand up too fast. That's actually called orthostatic hypotension. You might even get that scary sensation where your vision goes totally black for a few seconds. It leaves you with this constant fatigue and noticeably cold hands and feet, mostly because that vital, warm fuel just isn't making it all the way out to your extremities.
Understanding this really builds our knowledge of how our bodily mechanics work. The most common cause of a drop in blood pressure is surprisingly simple. It's dehydration. In the human body, a drop in water volume means an immediate drop in blood volume. Less blood literally means less pressure. So your emergency rescue for a sudden dizzy spell is so simple. Just calmly drink a large glass of water. It is absolutely the fastest way to replenish the system, and honestly, you'll often notice the difference in just a matter of minutes. Another essential habit to prevent that morning dizziness, the orthostatic hypotension we were just talking about, is changing exactly how you get out of bed. Whatever you do, do not spring up like a coiled spring. When you wake up, just sit on the edge of the bed for 1 full minute. Give your body the time it actually needs to mechanically adjust the blood flow against gravity. Then stand up slowly. It's a tiny, tiny change, but it prevents a major power outage in your brain.
Now, your digestion habits, they also play a massive role here. Heavy, massive meals demand a ton of energy, literally stealing blood away from the rest of your body to concentrate it all in your stomach. So if you suffer from low pressure, eating 3 heavy feasts is going to leave you feeling completely drained. Instead, you'll want to eat smaller, fractionated meals maybe 5 times a day. This ensures a steady, manageable flow of energy across your whole body without starving your brain of that vital blood.
And here is a pretty fascinating twist. Remember a few minutes ago when we said sodium was public enemy number 1 for high blood pressure? Well, for the hypotensive group, the folks dealing with low pressure, a touch of extra salt is actually beneficial. I know, wild, right? Having a couple of olives or a small cup of salty broth helps your body retain liquid, and that, in turn, gently bumps up your blood pressure to a normal, functional level. And this brilliantly illustrates how different our bodies can be. So let's bring both of these extremes together into a practical troubleshooting guide. Think of this next part as your very own mechanics manual. This cheat sheet perfectly maps out exactly what you need to do. If your pressure spikes into the high red zone, your immediate action is to sit down, do your deep breathing, and strictly avoid stimulants like coffee or tobacco. Then your daily habit should focus on walking and cutting out those processed foods. Conversely, if you drop into the low blue zone, your immediate action is to drink water, lie down, and elevate your legs to send that blood right back to your brain. Your daily habits there require staying consistently hydrating and eating those smaller, more frequent meals. Definitely take a mental snapshot of this. It is incredibly useful.
So the big takeaway from all of this is that your body's engine responds entirely to your daily habits. Your blood pressure isn't just some static, random number. It fluctuates based on your emotional state, what you're eating, and how you move. Controlling it doesn't require miracles, it requires constancy. Listen to your body's signals, Keeping a simple blood pressure monitor at home is honestly one of the smartest investments you can make, right alongside visiting your doctor regularly, just to make sure your internal highway is clear and totally safe.
I absolutely love this quote from our source material. Taking care of your rhythm is taking care of your life. It hits the nail on the head. Small, manageable changes that you implement today translate directly into a stronger, healthier heart tomorrow. You are the head mechanic of your own body, and you absolutely have the power to keep this engine running perfectly.
Now, as always, we want to make sure you are making safe, informed choices. Please remember to consult your doctor before making any drastic changes to your diet or lifestyle, especially if you happen to have a pre-existing condition.
All right, we've covered the science, the symptoms, and the solutions. You've got the manual in your hands now. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. What small change will you make to your daily rhythm today? Is it going to be taking that brisk 30-minute walk, or maybe just starting your morning with a tall glass of water before you jump out of bed? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.